They smiled in my face while hiding everything. The truth about my partner. The secret my parents swore to protect. But for what? It made me lose sleep. That was me on my 28th birthday. I woke up to silence. Not a single call, text, nothing. Which is already weird because my mom usually sends me some long paragraph about how I was born at 7:14 a.m. after 17 hours of labor. You know, the kind of guilt-ridden love only a mom can deliver. At first, I thought maybe they were planning a surprise, which felt a little out of character, sure, but not impossible. My girlfriend, Elise, had said she was working late and couldn't celebrate till the weekend, which sucked, but again, not impossible. Still, I had that gut feeling. Something was just wrong. So around noon, I called my mom, straight to voicemail. Same with my dad. Same with my sister, Taylor. Same with my younger brother, Luke. That's when I knew something was going on and I wasn't in on it. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I drove to my parents' house. The moment I pulled up, my stomach dropped. There were cars, lots of them. My aunt's old green sedan, my cousin Jake's pickup, even Luke's car, the one with the busted left mirror I kept telling him to fix before it got him pulled over. There was a party going on. I knocked. No one answered, so I let myself in. It was quiet at first. I heard faint music from the backyard, people laughing, someone shouting, "He's cutting the cake." I walked through the hallway and turned the corner into the kitchen, and that's when I saw the cake. It said, "Happy birthday, Luke." That's when the ground kind of gave out under me. My little brother, Luke, was turning 26, 2 years younger than me, and they had thrown him a birthday party on my birthday at our parents' house with all our family and friends, and no one had invited me. You know that hot buzzing in your ears when your brain can't process betrayal fast enough? That? I turned around and walked out before anyone could even notice me. Or maybe they did. Maybe they just didn't care. I sat in my car for over an hour, staring at the steering wheel, thinking maybe someone would call, text, say, "Wait, where are you? We thought you were coming." But no one did. Eventually, I drove home and opened a beer, even though I don't usually drink alone. I just sat there in silence, trying to make sense of what I'd just seen. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I called Elise. She didn't pick up either. 2 days passed before my mom finally texted me. "Hope you're okay. We didn't want drama at the party." That's it. That was the explanation. I replied, "What drama?" She left me on read. The next day, my sister Taylor called. She sounded awkward, like she'd just been caught sneaking back in after curfew. "So, are you okay?" "No. Why didn't anyone tell me about the party?" She sighed. "Look, Luke wanted to keep it low-key, and at mom and dad's? With 30 people? That's low-key." "Well, we just didn't think you'd want to be there." "Why? What did I do?" Silence. Then she said, "It's complicated." Complicated? That's the word people use when they're lying. Or when they're covering for someone. Now I had a mission. I started digging through old texts, photos, memories, things that didn't sit right over the last year. Elisa's strange excuses. Luke's sudden visits to our apartment when I wasn't home. That time I walked in and they both jumped like I'd caught them in the middle of something. I brushed it all off. Thought I was overthinking. But now it was all starting to smell. 3 days after the party, Elise finally came over. She didn't know I knew. She walked in with that fake casual smile. "Hey, I brought you some leftover cake from the office." "Office? Sure." I didn't say anything. I just pointed to the couch. She sat. "Why didn't you come to my birthday?" I asked. She blinked. "I told you I had work." "No, my actual birthday. Not the one Luke got." Her eyes shifted. "What do you mean?" "You know what I mean." That's when she started crying. Not the sobbing kind, the manipulative kind. The kind that says, "Please don't ask me the thing you're about to ask." So I asked anyway, "Are you sleeping with my brother?" Silence. She said, "It's not what you think," which means it's exactly what I thought. I told her to leave. I didn't scream. I didn't hit anything. I just pointed to the door and watched the life we'd built for the last 3 years walk out in stunned silence. And still, no one from my family had the guts to say a single word about it. Not my mom, not my dad, not Taylor, not Luke, not even after Elise was gone. That night, I got drunk. I hadn't done that in a long time. I opened every drawer in the apartment looking for some kind of explanation. Anything. But all I found was a gift-wrapped watch Elise had bought me for my birthday, still hidden in her closet. I guess she'd forgotten to give it to me. Or maybe she just didn't feel guilty enough yet. Here's what I've learned in that first week. My entire family knew. Elise cheated on me with my little brother. They threw him a party to celebrate. They didn't invite me because I was the drama. I don't know what kind of sick loyalty binds a family together in lies, but I guess I wasn't part of it. When I say I barely slept that week, I mean I'd close my eyes and just see them. Elise, Luke, together. I imagined them laughing behind my back, whispering during family dinners, sneaking glances while I was in the next room. I imagined everything I didn't see for the past year. My mind was a projector looping every missed signal, every weird look, every awkward silence I'd ignored. Turns out I hadn't missed it. I'd been taught not to see it, because my family raised me to believe that my job was to work hard, not complain, and accept less. And Elise, she figured that out fast. I called out of work the rest of the week. I couldn't think, couldn't function. I told my boss I had a personal emergency. I could tell he knew it was worse than that, but thankfully he didn't press. Around Friday, my phone rang. It was my dad. Now let me pause here to tell you something about my dad. He only calls when something breaks or someone dies. Emotionally, he's somewhere between a dry sponge and a tax auditor. So for him to call me, after a full week of silence, that told me one thing. They knew I knew. I answered with a flat, "Yeah." "Hey, son." His voice was weirdly light, like nothing had happened. "You doing okay?" "You know I'm not." A pause. Then, "Well, you want to come over? Talk this through." So I said, "Did you know Elise was cheating on me with Luke?" Silence. Not even a breath. "Dad." Still silence. Then he sighed like I had just brought up some minor inconvenience. inconvenience. It's not black and white, you know? That's when my brain snapped. You knew. We didn't want to hurt you, son. Didn't want to hurt me? So the solution was to pretend nothing was happening while your own son was being stabbed in the back by his brother and girlfriend? I hung up. That night I started writing everything down. Not for revenge. Not yet. Just to make sense of it. A timeline. A map of betrayal. Because the longer I sat in it, the more the pieces clicked. It had started almost a year ago when Luke lost his job. He was crashing at our place for a few weeks while he got back on his feet. That was supposed to be temporary. Elise and I had just moved into the new apartment. I was working extra hours to pay off a loan I stupidly took to help Luke out. And the whole time, Elise had been spending way too much time with him. At first, it seemed like she was just trying to be supportive. I appreciated it. I even told her, thanks for helping him out when I'm swamped. She said, he's your brother. He's family. That line haunted me because family in our house always meant them. Never me. I was the fixer, the one who did what needed to be done. I paid bills when my parents were behind. I helped Taylor through her divorce. I even gave Luke money twice to cover his credit card debt. And not once did anyone ever ask how I was doing. Now, I knew why. Because they didn't see me. Not really. I was just the support beam they all leaned on until they decided to remodel. The next big moment came when I got a DM from a burner Instagram account. Check your brother's tagged photos. Look at March. That's all it said. No name. No context. I hesitated. Part of me didn't want more proof. But I clicked through Luke's old tags, scrolling past gym selfies and beach pic. Then I saw it. March 14th. Luke and Elise. At a bar. She was wearing my hoodie. The one I'd been looking for months. She was leaning against his shoulder, eyes shut mid-laugh, his hand on her waist. Like a couple. Like it wasn't a secret. Like it never had been. I sent the photo to my group chat with Taylor and our cousin Matt. No caption. Taylor replied, you weren't supposed to find out like this. That was it. No apology. No remorse. Just a whoops. I lost it. How long have you known? She read it. No reply. Matt left the group. You know what's worse than betrayal? Being the only one who didn't know. They had watched me come to holidays with Elise. They'd taken pictures of us. They'd let me talk about marrying her someday. And behind closed doors, they were laughing at me. Or worse, pitying me. Like I was some clueless fool in the middle of their twisted little sitcom. I wasn't a brother. I wasn't a son. I was a joke. That night, Elise showed up again. I didn't buzz her in. She texted me from the curb. Please, just talk to me. I didn't mean for it to happen. She waited outside for 2 hours. I watched her from the window. I never went down. I decided then that I needed to get out. Not just out of the apartment, but out. New city, new job, fresh start. I had savings, and thank God I'd kept that promotion offer on the table in Chicago. I emailed HR the next morning and accepted. But before I left, I needed the truth, not the fake version, not the sugar-coated it just happened crap. I needed someone to finally admit what really went down. So I scheduled a lunch with Luke. He showed up 20 minutes late, wore sunglasses like he was hungover, didn't even say sorry. Bro, he said, you look like you haven't slept. Let's cut the crap, I said. Just tell me, when did it start? He scratched his jaw. Man, I don't think the details are. I slammed my hand on the table, loud enough to make people turn. When? He flinched. Last April. I felt froze. That was the month I helped him move in. That was before Elise and I went on our anniversary trip. She had already been cheating on me when she looked me in the eye and said, this is the happiest I've ever been. I stood up and walked out. Didn't even let him finish his sentence. That was the last time I saw Luke. If you've ever felt your brain crack, I mean that deep, nauseating snap in your chest that tells you this is not just a breakup, this is an identity fracture, then you'll understand what I'm about to say. I wasn't just betrayed. I was reprogrammed. Every memory I had of Elise, of Luke, of my family, it all had to be refiled under a new category. Lies. But it wasn't until 3 weeks after the Luke lunch that I learned I hadn't even scratched the surface. Because the betrayal, the real one, it didn't start with Elise, and it didn't start with Luke. It started when I got a letter. Yes, an actual letter. Postmarked from Texas. No return address. Just my name on the front in a handwriting I didn't recognize. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Typed, you deserve to know what they did. Under that line was a name. And when I saw it, my stomach turned. Jenna, my ex. We dated 3 years before I met Elise. Jenna was sweet, sharp, a little anxious, but warm. We'd been together for almost 2 years until she left me out of the blue. No warning. Just a text at midnight saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I was gutted. I blamed myself. I thought maybe I was too distant, too driven. She blocked me on everything the next day, and I never got closure. It was one of those heartbreaks that just stays with you. The letter continued, I wasn't supposed to say anything. Your mom begged me not to, but after what they did to you again, I can't stay quiet. I had to sit down. I was standing in the kitchen, half eating a granola bar, when I read the next line. Your mom and Elise were close. Too close. They stayed in contact the entire time you were dating. Your mom convinced her to keep you grounded, to make sure you stayed near the family. That's how she knew what you liked. That's why everything felt so easy in the beginning. I dropped the letter. My own mother orchestrated my relationship. I kept reading. And Luke, he's been obsessed with anything you have since you were kid. He stole Jenna from you too. I froze. I reread the sentence 5 times. I always thought Jenna's sudden withdrawal made no sense. She was distant, yes, but not like that. Not cold. The letter finished with one last kick to the rib. I left because your brother told me you'd been cheating. He showed me fake texts. Screenshots, he said, were from your phone. He said said you'd been seeing another girl for months. I felt sick, absolutely, physically ill. My brother faked messages. My mother manipulated my girlfriend. And the girl I loved left me because my own family didn't think I should be too happy. What kind of people do that? I called Jenna that night. She didn't answer at first, but a few hours later, she texted back. I wondered if you'd get it. I'm sorry it took so long. She confirmed everything. We talked for almost 2 hours. Luke had reached out to her a few weeks before the breakup, saying he knew something she should see. He fed her lies, built an entire narrative. When she asked my mom said, I just want what's best for you both. Maybe this isn't the right time in his life to be tied down. They manipulated her into walking away. Then Luke swooped in. She said he tried to sleep with her 3 weeks after we broke up. She declined and cut them all off. She moved states to get away from it, and she said the guilt of letting it happen has haunted her ever since. I barely slept that night. Everything in me, every shred of belief I had in my family was gone. Not only did they betray me now, they'd always betrayed me. They made sure I never had anything for myself. And when I did, they took it. I confronted my mom the next day. She answered the phone with her usual fake warmth. Hi, sweetie. I didn't even say hello. You told Elise to date me, didn't you? Silence. Then a long, defensive sigh. That's not how it was. Just answer the question. I just introduced you. She was a nice girl and I thought, you stayed in contact with her the whole time. That cracked the dam. She snapped. Because you always chased the wrong type of women. I just wanted someone who wouldn't let you run off and abandon your family. That's when it all made sense. This wasn't just about Elise. This was control. They couldn't stand the idea of me leaving, living far, making my own decisions, having a life they didn't approve. So they planted Elise, let Luke destroy it. And when that wasn't enough, they covered it up and called me the problem. I asked her one last question. Did you know what Luke did to Jenna? She didn't answer. Then she said something I'll never forget. I did what I had to do to keep this family together. There it was. The real motive. Not love, not protection, control. So I made my final decision. I was done. Not just with Elise, not just with Luke, with all of them. No calls, no explanations, no goodbyes. I packed everything, transferred jobs, signed the lease in Chicago, and I blocked every single one of them. But the fallout wasn't done yet, because right before I left town, I got a call from Taylor. I almost didn't answer, but something in me needed to hear what she had to say. Her voice was quiet. Mom's saying you've lost your mind. I didn't respond. Then she whispered like she didn't want anyone to hear. I'm sorry. I froze. Taylor, who had always been the quiet follower, the one who never took sides. What do you mean? I found out about Jenna, about Elise, about Luke. I knew pieces, but I didn't know everything. And now, I'm cutting them off too. Just wanted you to know. You're not crazy. You ever get the feeling that just when things settle, life's waiting around the corner with a baseball bat? That's how I felt in Chicago. I had been there for almost a month. New apartment, new job, a view of the skyline from my kitchen window. No Elise, no Luke, no fake birthdays, just silence and finally clarity. For the first time in my life, I chose myself. But peace? Yeah, peace didn't last. Because one Thursday morning, just after 9 a.m., my phone rang. Blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call. Same blocked number. Then a third one, but this time it was Taylor. I picked up, instantly on guard. Taylor? Her voice was a whisper. Don't hang up. Please, just listen. She was breathing heavily like she'd run somewhere. I don't know who else to call. I'm at a gas station just off I-65. I left. My heart rate spiked. Left what? Everything, she said. I told Mom what I really thought. She screamed at me. Said I was ungrateful. Then she said something. Her voice cracked. She said, if you turn against this family, you're no better than your brother. That hit me like a freight train. She kept going. Then Dad came in. He said, we did what we had to do. He never belonged anyway. He never belonged. Those words echoed so hard, I almost dropped the phone. What do they mean? I asked. Taylor went quiet. And then, like she'd been holding her breath her whole life, she said it. You're not Dad's son. My vision blurred. What? I didn't know either. Not until now. But she said it in the middle of the fight. Screamed it. He was a mistake I had to raise. I couldn't breathe. Taylor kept talking, but it sounded far away, like I was underwater. Apparently, she had an affair. Some guy she worked with when she was 23. She got pregnant. Told Dad it was his. He married her because of it. I dropped into the kitchen chair, my mouth dry. You're saying I'm not even. She cut in. You're not biologically one of us. That's why Mom was always harder on you. Why Luke got everything. It makes sense now. My whole childhood clicked like the final piece in a jigsaw puzzle I didn't even know I was solving. The unfairness, the dismissal, the guilt trips, the favoritism. It wasn't just parenting styles. They resented me because I wasn't one of them. I was an obligation. The next day, Taylor sent me a photo. It was a blurry scan of an old letter she found tucked in one of Mom's locked drawers. It was from a man named Victor, dated 1994. He wrote, I don't know if the kid is mine, but if he is, I want to be part of his life. Underneath it, in Mom's handwriting. No, this stays buried. I sat there staring at the photo until my coffee went cold. All this time, I thought I was the son who didn't try hard enough. The brother who wasn't as fun. The partner who couldn't keep Elise. But it wasn't about effort. It was about origin. I was the wrong bloodline. A week later, Taylor sent me a second update. Victor had a Facebook account. He was still alive. Married. No kids. Lives in Arizona. I stared at his profile picture for hours because he looked like me. The chin. The brow. The same tired eyes. The man who never got to know me. The man they kept me from. I didn't message him. Not yet, but I saved the profile. I don't know if I'll ever click send. I don't even know what I'd say. Hi, I think I'm the son you were denied. It sounds like a scam, but I finally knew the truth. Everything made sense now. They never supported me because I reminded them of something they tried to erase. face. And Elise? She was just another extension of that control meant to keep me tethered to a family that never wanted me free. The final straw came a few days later. I got a letter in the mail, this time from Elise. No envelope, just a page folded sloppily, probably dropped off by hand. It said, "I heard about what Taylor told you. I didn't know when we started dating, but after a while, your mom told me. She said I was the only thing keeping you from becoming like him. I thought I was helping. I really did. But then Luke happened and I got swept up. You have no idea how much she hated your independence. She wanted to break you. No apology, just a confession. I burned that letter, and that night I bought a plane ticket to Arizona. Not for Victor, for me, because whether I ever meet him or not, I needed to see the sky in a place untouched by their lies. I needed to feel small again in a good way. Free. You know how movies always end with some grand moment? Like a speech, a confrontation, or a door slamming shut while music swells. Yeah, real life doesn't work that way. Sometimes you just leave, and no one follows. I landed in Arizona on a Tuesday afternoon. No plans, no script. I didn't even tell Taylor I was going. I needed the distance to become real. I needed air that had never been breathed in by anyone who'd lied to me. I didn't go straight to Victor's house. I spent the first day just walking around, letting the sun burn off whatever was still clinging to me from back home. That night, I sat in a quiet motel room, staring at a photo of myself as a kid, 8 years old, front teeth missing, holding a fishing rod. I always thought Dad took that photo. Turns out it was Victor. Taylor found it in a box labeled miscellaneous. He'd sent it in a letter, probably the only one Mom never destroyed. The next morning, I drove past his house 3 times. I parked, got out, walked to the door, then I left. I didn't knock because suddenly I realized I wasn't there to find a new family. I was there to bury the old one. Back in Chicago, my phone was full of messages. From Mom, from Luke, from Dad, yes, even he had decided to weigh in. At least 2. One last Hail Mary. I didn't read them, just archived the thread and changed my number. The weirdest part of healing is that nothing feels healed. I didn't suddenly feel light. I didn't look in the mirror and see some triumphant version of myself. I was still just me, but I stopped needing answers, and that was new. A few weeks later, Taylor sent me one final update. She'd moved out, changed jobs, got her own place. And Mom was telling people I had a breakdown. That Elise broke my mind and I ran away. But Taylor corrected her once. Then she stopped. You don't owe anyone the truth if they're allergic to it, she told me. She was right. I never confronted Luke again. No revenge, no war, because I realized something else. You don't get even with people who were never in your league to begin with. You just get distant. The last message I ever got from Elise was a photo. It was me and her at a family barbecue. I was laughing. She was looking at me like I was the only person in the world. Caption: I didn't mean to lose this. I just didn't know what I had. No reply. Delete. I don't forgive my family. Living people in a grave I buried with my last name.